What happens after you submit Form I-751 removal of conditions? I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. I help couples get and keep their green cards. And one of the main parts of keeping a green card is the removal of conditions of the 2-year green card with Form I-751. A lot of people have issues with this, but I'm going to talk about what happens after you file it so you have an expectation of how the process looks like. So to start off, you apply for this kind of case if your green card is issued within 2 years of your marriage anniversary. If it is considered a new marriage, you got to submit this case to have additional proof that the marriage was not fake, it was not a fraud marriage, it was real. So they look at a lot of documents, you send them. Now, first thing to be aware of is the fact that sometimes the government will issue a 10-year green card, even though they're supposed to issue a 2-year green card. So then you might have the green card and not know you're even supposed to renew it. Just be aware that it is a requirement. Secondly, you have to submit Form I-751, not Form I-90 to renew the green card. I-90s are for renewing 10-year green cards, not 2-year green cards. So those are really important errors that I see people make or problems that people have that really comes back and hurts them. So I want you to prepare for that. But let's say you submit the case. First things first, after submission is you get a receipt notice. And this is where another problem pops up, like almost like a fourth of the time right now, a quarter of the time, is the government either fails to send a receipt notice, which is really important to get, or it takes them like 3 months to get it, which is really annoying. It really should take a week, because the receipt notice is an automatic 4-year extension of your green card. You're going to need that for travel, for work, for the DMV, just to live a normal life, to show you're a resident. You need the extension notice. So if it doesn't come to you after 30 days, you got to keep an eye out, start contacting USCIS and hassling them, see what you can do, and if needed, getting a stamp, a green card stamp in your passport to hold you over, or I-94 extension notice is the whole thing they have. But you just got to call them up and let them know you need it, so you can get this evidence of extension of green card so you can live your life normally. So after, let's say you do get a receipt, you'll get a biometrics, a fingerprinting appointment notice. If you have already given one in the recent past with USCIS, you'll just get a notice that says it's waived. But if you haven't, there's an appointment for you to do it. And then after that, you wait. So the reason they're giving 4-year extension notices now, because these cases take anywhere from 6 to 12 months to 2 or 3 years to be approved, more likely towards the 2 or 3 year mark, because they're so backed up. So because they expect how much delays are happening in this kind of case, it's going to take forever. So just prepare for that mentally. It is normal for that to happen, unfortunately. Now, they may send what's called a request for evidence in the meantime, asking for more documentation because they didn't feel like it was enough. Many times they send us requests for evidence on these cases and say we didn't send them anything, even though we send them 200 pages of documents. That kind of nonsense is unfortunately regular as well. And one weird thing is you might be living in Los Angeles, we'll get a notice from Cincinnati or Orlando or something like that, not from a service center, but from some local field office. They try to distribute the case law on this stuff, so some random officers may get your case and ask you questions about your case so you can submit to them. You just got to make sure you respond in a timely fashion to those requests for evidence. It's very important to do that. But you may not get a request for evidence. The case might just be pending, and eventually you might probably get an approval notice. During the Biden administration, they're doing less and less actual interviews, or they may schedule an interview, which isn't always the worst. Some interviews are just, they do them just to do them. But you really want to be prepared before you go to that interview and have, extra documentation of your continued relationship. Be prepared to ask personal questions about yourself and stuff. And we do practice interview sessions. If you like, schedule a consultation with our office, jqqlaw.com/contact, where you can talk about, just questions that they may ask and what documents they want to see. And we could go through that in a session to kind of help bolster your case so you're more prepared for it. Now, one thing is these cases, since they do take forever, if you've been married to a U.S. citizen for 3 years, you could probably file for U.S. citizenship in most cases while the I-751 removal case situation is still pending. And once you file for U.S. citizenship, the good thing is that the citizenship cases have more officers, so most likely it'll fast forward your case to the point where you just go to your citizenship interview with your spouse and they knock out both cases at the same time and you're done. Whereas if you don't get citizenship, it may take 2 or 3 years easily for them to approve the I-751 on its own to get a 10-year green card. So that's the big picture of what happens with processing. Now, one danger maybe your relationship's not going well. You might want to be separated. You may be separated, may even get divorced while this process is happening. If that happens, 100% talk with a qualified immigration lawyer. People know how to do this because it makes it into a little bit messy situation, informing the government that your divorce is happening or has happened. There's timing issues that happen where they want to know when the final divorce is ready, when it's not. They may want more documentation evidence if you're divorced. So that's something you got to really prep for and be wary of. But that's the whole picture of it. A lot of waiting is there. That's the number one thing that you got to be worried about. And secondly, just have as much documents as possible. When people start their marriage green card case with us, we prep them for this stage years earlier. So when we start to say, listen, the basic marriage case is not going to want as much evidence, but continue accumulating evidence for years so that when you do that step, you have it. And the 4 or 5 documents they really want to see is one, joint tax returns. So some people don't do it since they think they're not supposed to or they don't can't or whatever. Talk with the good accountant about that. But joint tax returns. 2, driver's licenses or IDs with the same address. 3, evidence of joint residence. Either you own a home together or you're leasing together. 4, bank accounts, money, essentially, credit cards, whatever financial kind of stuff that you get together as joint. Those are the big stuff they look. And also, child's birth certificate always helpful, but not everyone's going to have a kid during this period of time or want to have a kid. So that's something I kind of separate as the 5th one. But in addition to that, we have a list. Where should I save? I'm not sure if I can save it here, but essentially we have a list in our guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. We have a 70-plus page guide for the initial marriage case, but there's an addendum that has lists of sample documents. But it could be insurance documents, financial stuff like joint insurance is financial, but life insurance, health insurance, car insurance, the insurance packages, and then the bank accounts, it could be savings, checking, credit cards, and you may want to get all the bank statements since you got married. Sometimes they'll ask for that. It's pretty annoying. But then there's travel records together. You might went to Disneyland together. The tickets have your names on them. Flights you went to different places, photos, letters from family and friends, certified affidavits, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on there. If you're just thinking about starting a process, start with a consultation with us so we can really analyze the case and see any red flags, and you could decide whether you want to do it on your own or not. Always best to prep for this early, more than 6 months before expiration. You want to come last second. Sometimes you send the case in late in the post or near the end of the deadline that you have, which is the expiration of the green card. The post office loses it. Then you have to submit late, and there's always worries about that. Although it is possible to submit these cases late and ask for forgiveness. We've done that before. I have separate videos on YouTube on that. But I hope that gives you an understanding of the process for I-751. Unfortunately, it's very stressful on people. I wish and pray that this whole thing would go away. They started it 1980s, 1990s, early 1990, because some movie came out saying people are doing fraud on this stuff. It was a comedy movie, and people got all worked up about it. Recent statistics show that almost none of the cases are found to be fraudulent. So it's a big waste of human resources, money, time on all of you, on your side and government side. But you know how it works in bureaucracy. Once something started, it's hard to get away from it. Just something we got to deal with. But if you can file for citizenship, you should look into that Form N-400. We have separate videos on that or schedule a consultation at jqqlaw.com/contact to talk about it. There's a lot of fake profiles online of our office. If you want to contact us, the best and almost the only way to contact us is through our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. And we only do video consultations with people so you can talk with myself or maybe my associate attorney so you know it's not some fake person off WhatsApp trying to steal your money. It's very important. Be mindful of this kind of stuff to get things in right. Thank you so much for watching. Follow the rest of our content. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. This was some general educational content I want to share with you. I hope you all safe and have a great case. God bless. Talk soon.